Uh, so, Chris, when you adapted this from the comic and you plugged the actors into the characters, in particular, what happened with Astra?
Well, yeah, it's a really good question. The way I approached all of these is to try to get as much of the actors and actresses of who they are into these roles as possible. I got to know Sara during the process through the pilot and before the pilot, and tried to write the character, towards her and towards who she was. And I gave I had to, in the adaptation, I had to add more background to Asta than was there before. So I added the element of this bad marriage she was in, and this thing that happened to her when she was 16, having to give up this baby for adoption. And so I had to add all of that. And I really think Sara brought so much humanity to the role when she came in. And one of the things I really was going for, certainly with Asta's character as one of the co-leads of it, is to really get the audience to fall in love with her and to really care about who she is as a person. And I just could not be more happy with what Sara did with the role. You watch her on screen, you just can't take your eyes off her. So she's
all right, really Sara, you got equal time.
Talk about yourself now, Sara.
Well, you were referencing the question into writing. So did you want me to?
Yeah, just to comment on how you plugged yourself in.
Okay. Hello again, Tony. Good to see you.
Same here.
I was first attracted to the script mainly because, and I'll just go ahead and pass those compliments back to my showrunner buddy over here, to the writing. It was so stellar, the tonal shift between comedy and drama, and I'd never felt more seen than when I read that first pilot script. I just feel like I really understand her vulnerability, her honesty, her lack of trust, particularly in men at that time in my life when I got the pilot. So I was really very intrigued, and I was pretty easily able to plug myself in based on some of my own life experiences at that time. What I didn't expect was how involved Chris would be with all of us. First off, he introduced me to each person as they got cast. So, when Corey got cast, we got introduced through email, and then Alice, and then it just became this huge, wonderful,
But Sara was first, right?
Yeah, I was first. I like to remind Alan of that. Actually, Alan was last. We were all just like, who is Harry? But I think it was so interesting how we all got cast and then kind of locked into place. And then Chris did this amazing job of making us all feel warm and welcome, and also asking us what we thought of our characters. So it's not like there was this situation where I felt like I couldn't ask a question or say, hey, I'm not sure about this line, or I don't know if she'd say this. Most of the time the writing was spot on, so I never even had to question it. But it's like so lovely to have someone you work for who is like, yes, what do you think? And so that really helped me adapt right into kind of filtering in myself with her. And really, I feel like the only thing that she and I don't have in common is I don't wear jeans. I hate jeans.
Very funny.
I mean, there are definitely differences between us, but there's a lot of similarities, so it wasn't that hard.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Wonderful. So I was wondering, when it comes for the showrunner for Chris, I was wondering, when it comes to this show, there's a lot of TV shows and movies that we've seen about aliens. What do you do either in the research, the preparation process, to make this show look as different as it does compared to, say, other shows of that same subject?
That's a great question. I mean, one of the biggest things that I did in developing this show is I tried to make the show a show, even if you took the alien out of it. A lot of the sci-fi shows and a lot of the alien shows are so alien-centric that everything else falls aside. But it really is a show about an alien coming down and learning about humanity. And my goal was to ground all that humanity as much as possible, so the alien could sort of, through the eyes of the audience, sort of be part of seeing this world that already exists. So, I tried to cast, incredible grounded actors like Sara and the rest, and tried to give them all three-dimensional stories so that if for some reason there was no alien in this, it would still be a great show to watch and a fun show to watch, and there's stuff going on in town. And then you drop the alien layer over it, and it just adds a whole other dimension to it. So I think one of the things that separates it from from a lot of the alien shows or the sci-fi shows, and nothing against any of them, but the way I approached it was, like I said, I really tried to make it as three-dimensional as possible and make it as relatable as possible, even to an audience that might not be a sci-fi audience, and sort of introduce them to this world of sci-fi by sinking them into the town and drawing them into the human characters, and then having them accept this alien as an alien. But in this way, I thought it could also play like this could just be an immigrant story, that he could be a guy that just got off the bus from a different part of the country or a different country and trying to fit in and trying to belong in this world. So I thought it would make it more relatable, and that might be one of the things that sort of separates it from some of the other shows.
And for Sara, the question I have is, because you was explaining how open everyone is to the process and to your ideas, so does that, as an actress, kind of change how you originally thought you was going to approach the character?
Ooh, that's a good question. No one's ever asked me that. Thank you. I do think I had a way that I could relax a little bit quicker because I was able to have those conversations ahead of time with Chris. We did a lot of discussing the scenes, how I feel, what do I think feels right. And so I was able to show up to work pretty mentally prepared for what was going to happen that day. And there's always, the it factor or the X factor of Alan Tudyk just like improvising and not knowing how he's going to handle the scene, but that makes it that much more organic. The reactions I have to him, the ways that I'm really taking him in and kind of weirded out by him. And it was so like wonderful to be able to just feel like I could show up and be myself and click into those genes and get a little bit more Asta. But for the most part, I was really just living out a real honest truth about a lot of things I was going through at the time, very vulnerable grief that I was dealing with on my own. So I really didn't have to put much on it. And it was so lovely to be able to play a role that was so synergetic with what was going on in my life.
Wonderful.
Yeah, if I can jump in real quick on that too, there is not an inauthentic moment with Sara in the show. You can see how much I've never seen an actor sink into a character so flawlessly as Sara did, and that's something that's so essential. Like she says, you're playing with Alan Tudyk, who can go off script sometimes, but Sara stays with him every step of the way because she just becomes this character, and she reacts as if she is this character every single time, and she never misses a beat. It's so wonderful to watch her and Alan work together. It's incredible.
Thank you.
I just wanted to jump in and say we do have just a few more minutes. So John, I don't know if you're there and wanted to get in your questions. Okay, Tony and Dana, it's all you.
Okay. As far as this first season, no spoilers, but how is this town kind of, are they going to adapt to him a little more or vice versa?
Go ahead, Sara, you start.
Oh, okay. I think in order for the show to work the way that it does, he has to adapt as quickly as possible, and so do we. Because if I think he's super weird all the time, then why would I keep working with him? Why would I trust him? So there's this permission that this world gives us in patience to be patient, really, literally, with each other, and just kind of accept each other for who we are, and accept that we're all kind of weirdos and nobody really feels like they fit in, and then go on about our lives and our selfish things that we're going through in our minds. And same with Harry. I mean, he's got so much else going on. You get the benefit of the audience of listening to that dialogue for him. I almost wish we could hear some of that a little bit more for someone like Deputy Liv. Like, what is she thinking? You know what I mean? Maybe that'll be something fun. Eventually we can hear Harry hearing them, but right now I think it's really lovely that the town just kind of just takes off and is like, okay, you're weird, but I still have my own shit to deal with. So I'm not worried about you. And I think that that makes it so like quick and easy for us to get in there and kind of, it's very believable in that way.
It's true. And that's his journey too, right? I mean, his journey is he's not a human, but he just to even fit in, he's got to learn what it's like to be human. And he finds himself feeling these emotions he's never had before. And, like a child learning empathy for the first time, we see him growing throughout the process. But, I think one of the keys to the show, as you can tell in the first season, is that he doesn't get it right. That's some of the fun of the show. And so I don't think the show will ever get to a point where he just fits in flawlessly, because I think at that point he's fully human and the show's over. So I think a lot of the dance of the show is watching Alan Tudyk play this character, Harry, who doesn't really fit in, but is desperately trying to fit in at first because he has to for his own survival. And then as he slowly gains these human emotions, I think he starts trying to fit in because he has these feelings inside of him, like we all have, that we actually want to belong to something bigger than us. We want to belong to this world. And I think him fighting these inner impulses all the time is a lot of the engine that keeps the show going. So we're going to keep that going as long as possible.
All right. Thank you, guys. That's
Thank
time.
you.
Just a reminder, just leave the room, not the actual Zoom session.